our next story is what happened over at JFK8 this week. I know you first reported it, and by the way, this was written by Sharon Zhang from Truth Out, and you'll notice that there's a little logo next to Sharon Zhang, and she's got two logos, because not only is Truth Out an Indie Media Award honoree, Sharon Zhang also is an honoree for being one of the top writers, and we feature her stuff very often on this show, as well as in Indie Left News, and love her to death and appreciate her work. Support her, Zhang, ZHANG _Sharon on Twitter, and support Truth Out. They're an outstanding organization. So, Amazon warehouse workers wage a work stoppage in protest after a fire breaks out. Wait, what? Yes, this is what happened.
Yep.
So, our buddy, we know this guy, Chris Smalls, right? So this was on September 5th. This was, I think, in front of Bezos's house. They took this picture, but he tweets out, hundreds of Amazon workers waged a work stoppage, and this is Sharon writing, in protest after a fire broke out in their warehouse in Staten Island, New York on Monday, according to the union that represents the workers. According to Amazon Labor Union, over 650 employees began protesting at around 8 p.m. Monday, saying that they could still smell fumes from the fire that had broken out in the trash compactor earlier that day. Night shift workers were taken to the break room when the fire broke out and refused to leave after they were told by managers to return to work, the union said. According to ALU leaders, managers threatened workers with write-ups if they continued their protest. Wait, what? Yeah. The work stoppage lasted nearly 3 hours, according to ALU, and a large portion of the workers marched to the manager's office to demand that the workers get sent home with pay. Workers also protested an offer of 25-cent raises that the company had made in the last week, which the union called insulting and said would amount to a pay cut due to inflation, true, and the fact that workers at the warehouse still have yet to have their union recognized by the $1.2 trillion company. ALU says that the stoppage may be the largest collective action ever taken by Amazon workers. It's also the union's first major work stoppage since it voted to unionize earlier this year. Right? A lawyer for the union, Seth Goldstein, told Motherboard that workers said the compactor had caught fire, had been malfunctioning and smoking for weeks. What? Yeah, God forbid they have to replace the compactor and lose their profits. One of the reasons that people are unionizing at Amazon is because the employer cares about profits and doesn't care about their lives. We've seen this over and over. Where's the transparency here? According to New York Times known Schreiber, one employee said that the warehouse still smelled like fire as of Tuesday. Again, there was a fire. It's not really a surprise. The employee also said that day shift workers had been sent home early. Amazon claimed that the stoppage only involved a small group of employees. And their quote, their statement was that yesterday there was a small fire in a cardboard compactor outside of JFK8, one of our facilities in Staten Island. All employees were safely evacuated, and day shift employees were sent home with pay. The FDNY certified the building is safe, and at that point we asked all night shift employees to report to their regularly scheduled shift. Well, ALU President Chris Smalls said on Twitter that the fire was especially dangerous because Amazon has a lack of safety drills. What? What do you mean? Well, here's what Chris has to say. Wait, I had that tweet in there. I mean, it must be next. Safety concerns are consistently a problem at Amazon. Workers and labor advocates say when 6 Amazon workers died after a tornado caused an Amazon warehouse to collapse in Illinois late last year, progressive lawmakers raised concerns about what they wrote was a wholly inadequate safety culture at Amazon, which potentially contributed to the death of 6 workers. That's the least of it. Workers said Amazon's policy of not allowing them to have smartphones on their person at work endangered them during the disaster. The company has since lifted that policy. Yes. However, the lawmakers highlighted concerns brought to light by an OSHA investigation that found the company maintains only the bare minimum safety requirements. One of the most profitable companies in the world. Data shows that Amazon warehouses are uniquely unsafe places to work. According to a report by Strategic Organizing Center released in April, Amazon accounted for about half of all warehouse injuries in 2021, despite only employing about a third of the warehouse workforce. Workers and labor advocates say that this injury rate can be partially chalked up to the company's extremely harsh and unbending work culture, which prioritizes speed over everything else. I think we know this. All right, so that's the first half of the thing. And again, I'm not really sure where Chris's tweet went, but that's pretty much what Chris had to say was right there. I probably didn't include it because it has a lack of safety drills, and that's what was happening there. I remember there was a video in there too. So the other half of this is what happened. So Amazon turned around and suspended the 50 employees who refused to work on the Monday night shift. These sons of bitches. Kenny Stansel from Common Dreams. Common Dreams also recipient of an Indie Media Award for one of the outstanding outlets. So ALU lawyer here called the punishment of Staten Island employees a violation of workers' rights to join in a collective action about the terms and conditions of their employment. They suspended at least 50 workers who refused to return to the shop floor for a few hours on Monday night due to health and safety concerns following a fire at the JFK8 Fulfillment Center in New York City, company's only unionized warehouse in the U.S. Again, what these guys are going to say, I'm sure, is, well, the FDNY certified it was fine. What they're saying is, the union is saying, we will not tolerate any unsafe workplace and we will not tolerate intimidation. Roughly 100 night shift workers at the Staten Island facility participated in a work stoppage shortly after a fire broke out in a trash compactor machine used on cardboard. Okay. Labor leaders said the warehouse smelled of smoke and that they couldn't breathe. One worker went to the hospital, they said. Late Monday night, here's Chris's tweet. I've been out here in the rain talking to upset workers instead of being sent home. Amazon management is threatening time deductions and written warnings for not returning back to the floor. The dock smells like burnt chemicals. Instead of shutting down, they hire a cleanup crew. Shaking my head. And there is a video that goes with this if you can find the Chris tweet from today. He recently shared footage of the fire and ensuing protests on social media. Right? Shame on them.
Yep. Shame.
Seth Goldstein called the punishment of Staten Island employees a violation of workers' rights. The workers didn't feel safe going back to work. They were engaging in rights that have been protected for 85 years under the National Labor Relations Act. As the Post, which is, of course, owned by Amazon's mega billionaire founder Jeff Bezos, reported, the mass suspension took place less than 10 days before warehouse workers at a separate Amazon warehouse near Albany are slated to vote to become the second Amazon workforce to join Amazon Labor Union. By the way, that's 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Chris will be in Amazon at ALB1. ALU scored a historic victory for the labor movement in April when workers at JFK8 voted to form the nation's first union at Amazon, second largest employer in the country behind Walmart. Nonetheless, the e-commerce giant, which spent big on union busting consultants and pulled out all the stops in an unsuccessful bid to crush the organizing drive, has yet to recognize the independent union. Amazon labor union organizers say Amazon's crackdown in Staten Island was intended to have a broad chilling effect on their organizing campaigns, including the upcoming election. And this is from the Post. Union organizers said that 10 union leaders who led the action were suspended on Tuesday, as well as 40 warehouse workers who refused to return to their shifts. So Amazon spokesman Paul Flanagan told the newspaper that all employees were safely evacuated, like I said, from the area of the warehouse where the fire had broken out. Day shift workers were sent home with pay, but once the fire department had certified the building was safe, the company asked night shift workers to report to their scheduled shifts. This is an issue, but while the vast majority of employees reported to their workstations, mostly because they knew they would be retaliated against if they didn't, a small group refused to return to work and remained in the building without permission. ALU, however, disputes the corporation's account and describes the suspensions as clear retaliation against workers who refuse to work in unsafe conditions. Amazon associates JFK8 had our lives placed at risk yesterday, and this isn't the first time, ALU said Tuesday in a statement. Yesterday's safety and health risk fire, but is but one example of why we voted to form a union, so we can have a real voice on crucial issues which impact all associates every day. Our unionization effort has its origins in a health and safety crisis, the COVID pandemic, and Jeff Bezos and Amazon's complete disregard for our safety and our family's safety. The union continued. Of course, before he was elected president of ALU, we know this, Chris Smalls was fired from JFK8 in March 2020 after organizing a walkout to protest their refusal to adequately protect workers from COVID. Staten Island facility has earned a reputation for egregious violations of workers' rights since it opened in September 2018. Data published earlier this year, for instance, shows that the fulfillment center's already above-average injury rate increased by 15% from 2020 to 2021. Right. Quote, it's well documented Amazon warehouses have major safety and health issues, and their treatment of every one of us yesterday underscores why we need Amazon management to respect our choice to unionize, to follow the law, and their legal stalling, and start negotiating with us over key issues, including our own safety and health. We won our unionization election fair and square, said the ALU, pointing to the NLRB's recently announced plan to throw out Amazon's objections to the union's victory, which paves the way for contract negotiations, assuming Amazon comes to the table. Quote, Amazon workers made a collective decision last night to demand that workers get sent home with pay while the smoke cleared. We demanded to see the fire department report. We demanded real information about what was happening. When workers demanded the right to speak together as a union, Amazon then increased their intimidation by informing us that key worker leaders have now been suspended for doing exactly what workers voted for, coming together to make a plan that we as frontline workers felt safe on the job. We will not tolerate any unsafe workplace, and we will not tolerate intimidation. ALU reportedly plans to file an unfair labor practice complaint with the NLRB, I'm sure, in response to these suspensions. So, fuck you, Amazon, again. Like, billions of dollars. You can't send one shift worth of employees that are near that compactor home with pay for 1 day. 1 day. Their margins are not that tight. They're tight. They're not that tight. And why are they that tight? Because they want to squeeze everybody else. And they're putting everybody else out of business. I swear. They're by and large. They're B&L. Like in that movie WALL-E. Are you frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're not frozen. I'm here. Okay. So, I know we've done a lot of coverage on Amazon, ALU. They are still organizing. JFK8 is still their bellwether. And we are still in their corner. We want to see this happen. And this is what they're fighting for. This is why they organize. Because without this, would anybody know that the workers were sent back to breathe in potentially toxic fumes? No. Nikki, no. Radical Leftist Agenda is here. What's up?
What's up, fam?
What's up, fam? All right. So that's crazy. Amazon, of course, draconian, ridiculous. Chris Smalls is on the case. This is JFK8. I would expect that he would be there for this. And of course, again, he's trying to organize and build around the country. This is why they need a large internal media structure on their own. Why they need to be building their own Amazon labor union network. Why they aren't today, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's on my soapbox. All right. So I got...